Mike Portnoy here. I am an obsessive-compulsive freak. One of my many obsessions is collecting. Drums is one of my biggest obsessions. This is what I do. Other biggest obsession, which is film. One Sabian cymbal that I'm obsessed with, my very own signature cymbal, the Max Stacks. The coolest things in my life, but also one of the most dangerous things in my life, is how easily I can become obsessed with things that I like. And when I'm into something, it's full-blown. I don't casually get into anything. Here we are in my home theater. Most musicians opt for a home studio. I opted for the home theater because in addition to music, which is obviously one of my biggest obsessions, as I am a musician and a musical artist, when I come home, I want to surround myself with my other biggest obsession, which is film. I've always been into film since I was a kid. And I have my top 10 directors along that wall. On the other wall, I have like my other top 20 directors. And then beyond that, I have another wall of DVDs, which is just A through Z of everything else. And my taste is pretty eclectic. But I tend to not like typical Hollywood action stuff. My taste is more into independent stuff, foreign films, just quirky kind of styles. Like I said, once I'm into something, I become obsessed with it. And if I discover a new director, I see one of his films, then I immediately have to go out and collect every DVD that he's made. And I mean, if you were to look at the walls here in my theater, some of my favorites of all time are up on the walls. Clockwork Orange, one of my all-time favorites. In fact, I have Malcolm McDowell tattooed on me because Stanley Kubrick is my all-time hero. So I could relate to the role of a film director because he's the person that's going to oversee everything. My role all those years in Dream Theater was very much like that, overseeing everything. I can watch a Stanley Kubrick film or a David Lynch film or a P.T. Anderson film and just study the craft of it. To look at the way the cinematography and the editing and all of those elements, I can relate to them as a musician and as an artist, and I apply it to what I do with music. One of my many obsessions is collecting. I guess I'm a candidate almost for that TV show Hoarders, except I keep everything very meticulously organized. So I am definitely the type that collects everything and can't throw stuff away. But luckily, I keep it very neat. And as you see behind me, amongst other things, is my CD collection. I mean, that might be 10,000 CDs, I don't know, but I've lost track. Every single CD in that collection is meticulously organized, alphabetically and chronologically. One of my favorite games that I play with my kids is that I'll go to the other side of the room and then just have them point to one CD, and I could tell you exactly what it is. If somebody was to come in here and move a couple of them around, I would definitely know. Nowadays, I still collect CDs, but I obviously do a lot of downloading as well, so I have so much of my music in digital form. In fact, I carry with me 4 different iPods on tour. The 160 gig iPod isn't enough for me, so I have several of them, and I have one for live albums and bootlegs and demos, and then one for all my favorite artists. In addition to collecting tremendous amounts of CDs and DVDs, I also cannot throw away a magazine. Even from when I was a kid, right here, these are all my Modern Drummer magazines, starting from August '79 all the way up to present day. August '93, this was the first time I appeared in Modern Drummer magazine, and that was one of the highlights of my career. And since then, I've been on the cover 3 times. When my kids grow up and they have kids, I could show my grandkids. Remember these days when we had these things called magazines? And this is with your grandpa, first time he was in Modern Drummer magazine. I don't know why I'd suddenly become Southern. Suddenly, just because I'm an old man, I'm going to have a Southern accent. I don't know why that would happen. But anyway, here are my magazines. Through these doors is the drum room. Obviously, drums is one of my biggest obsessions. This is what I do. I hit things. What's on display here is 3 of my tribute kits. I have my John Bonham tribute kit, which Tama made for me when I did my Hammer of the Gods band. This is my Keith Moon tribute kit, which Tama made for me when I did my Amazing Journey tribute band. And this is my Neil Peart tribute kit, signed by Neil. Thanks, Neil. And this was the kit that Tama made for me when I did my Cygnus and the Sea Monsters tribute band. And all three of these kits are exact replicas to Neil and Bonzo and Keith Moon. And all three were so much fun to play, and all very, very different. You know, the classic Bonham setup, the completely wacky, untraditional Keith Moon setup, and then, of course, the classic mammoth Neil Peart setup. So three very different worlds. And then, in addition to three of my heroes, I, of course, have to have one of my own kits back here. So back here is... this was the kit I used on Dream Theater's 6 Degrees and Train of Thought tour. It's the original Siamese Monster, as well as heads from the different bands I've played in through the years: Liquid Tension Experiment, Transatlantic, Avenged Sevenfold. So really, this is a real drum heaven or drum hell. Actually, this is like drum purgatory. This is where drums come when they're waiting to find out if they've been good kits or bad kits. I've always played a wide array of Sabian cymbals, and I love them all. But I guess if I had to pick one Sabian cymbal that I'm obsessed with, it would have to be my very own signature cymbal, the Max Stax. This is the low Max Stax, the 12 and 14, and it comes in three. It comes in a low, medium, and a high. But I would say the low, which is the 12 and 14, is probably the one that I utilize in every setting I'm playing in, whether it's, you know, a progressive band or a metal band. It's the one that really cuts through. The first time I heard stacked cymbals was from Terry Bozzio. And at the time that I developed my Max line with Sabian, named after my son Max, by the way, at that time, Terry didn't have the radius cymbals that Sabian now offers. So I wanted to develop a set of stacks of my own. And in addition to being able to ride on them or play accents with them, I mean, those kind of double bass patterns, which is a big part of Terry's style, and it has become a big part of my style as well. The stacks were great for that, and I have 3 sets of stacks on my kit, so I can actually do a lot of double-handed, you know, accents between the kick drums and the snare and the stacks. And I've always loved stacked cymbals because they're kind of the perfect combination of a China cymbal as well as a percussive, you know, effect cymbal. So the stacks really cuts through. You could kind of ride on it like a China or a ride, or you could do accents on it. And it's one of those cymbals that just carries through no matter what project or band I'm playing.